Question 1. Taking into account a recent restoration project following a sewage backup in a commercial facility, ISTADILIT is tasked with inspecting the HVAC system for contaminants. Upon disassembling part of the return air plenum, he observes visible biofilm and detects strong organic odors. Which of the following steps should ISTADILIT take to determine the full extent of contamination? A. Proceed to clean only the visibly affected areas since biofilm presence already confirms contamination. B. Collect air and surface samples, conduct microbial identification, and inspect downstream components for secondary exposure. C. Apply a general-purpose disinfectant across the entire system without further testing to expedite restoration. D. Replace all ductwork automatically without conducting any inspection or analysis. Answer. Correct answer. B. Collect air and surface samples, conduct microbial identification, and inspect downstream components for secondary exposure. Explanation. Visible biofilm and odor strongly indicate microbial contamination, but the EPA's HVAC cleaning standards and ACI bioaerosols guidelines require a thorough assessment involving air surface sampling and microbial ID to determine full extent. Merely cleaning visible spots, A. Leaving hidden growth. Broad disinfectant application, C, without scope identification violates containment and documentation principles under HRConquer. Full duct replacement, D, is unwarranted without confirmed systemic contamination. Proper assessment enables targeted, co-compliant remediation. Question 2. To illustrate this point, during post-fire restoration in an assisted living facility, technician Is Patel notes that a control board in a heat pump system was subjected to high temperatures but still functions intermittently. Which course of action aligns best with industry protocol? A. Replace only after the component completely fails during a post-restoration test. B. Leave the control board in place and advise the client to monitor for signs of failure. C. Replace the heat pump entirely regardless of damage extent to avoid liability. D. Replace the compromised control board as part of preventive restoration due to thermal stress exposure. Answer. Correct answer. D. Replace the compromised control board as part of preventive restoration due to thermal stress exposure. Explanation. According to ASHRAE Guideline 1.6 and HRConquer, components exposed to fire-related thermal damage must be evaluated for latent failure risk. A control board with intermittent operation post-exposure warrants preventive replacement. D. Waiting for failure. A. Ignoring the damage. B. Replacing the whole unit. C. Are either negligent or excessive. Restoration professionals must balance risk, cost, and performance assurance, prioritizing occupant safety and equipment reliability. Question 3. Given the circumstances, a team led by Istawong is performing mold remediation in a hospital HVAC system. To prevent spore migration, they must establish a containment zone around the affected AHU. Which of the following practices ensures proper containment? A. Use of polyethylene sheeting, HEPA filter negative air machines, and pressure monitoring. B. Opening all nearby vents to promote airflow and dilution. C. Sealing only the visible mold area without negative pressure management. D. Utilizing standard HVAC filters during cleaning to trap spores. Answer. Correct answer. A. Use of polyethylene sheeting, HEPA filtered negative air machines, and pressure monitoring. Explanation. As per HRConquer and OSHA 20I and CFR 1910.134, mold remediation in sensitive areas like hospitals requires critical containment with sealed barriers, negative pressure, and HEPA filtration. A. Reflects this. Ventilation. B. Promotes contamination spread. C. Lacks pressure control and standard filters. D. Cannot trap microscopic spores effectively. Maintaining containment integrity ensures infection control, legal compliance, and occupant safety. Question 4. Throughout the course of a large-scale restoration project, technician Ista Alvarez notices his team lead has been logging incomplete duct cleaning reports to save time. What is the most ethically responsible action Ista Alvarez should take? A. Report the discrepancy to the restoration company's compliance officer or supervisor. B. Ignore the issue since he is not directly responsible for documentation. C. Confront the client about the issue and disclose everything immediately. D. Modify the reports to make them appear more thorough and accurate. Answer. Correct answer. A. Report the discrepancy to the restoration company's compliance officer or supervisor. Explanation. According to EPA Section 608, the Quality Standards and the Restoration Industry Association RIA Code of Ethic, HVACR professionals must act with integrity, accuracy, and transparency. A. Supports internal resolution via formal chain of command, confronting the client. C. Risks unauthorized disclosure, ignoring B. or falsifying reports. D. Can lead to licensure loss or litigation. Ethical vigilance protects the client, the company, and the technician's professional standing. Question 5. Demonstrated by the diagnostic readings during post-flood evaluation, HRConquer observes a high superheat and low suction pressure in a refrigeration circuit. Which system issue is most likely the root cause? A. Condenser fan malfunction causing heat buildup. B. Non-condensable gases in the refrigerant line. C. Undersized compressor reducing flow rate. D. Restricted metering device limiting refrigerant flow. Answer. Correct answer. D. Restricted metering device limiting refrigerant flow. Explanation. High superheat plus low suction pressure suggests inadequate refrigerant entering the evaporator consistent with a restricted metering device. D. As per ASHRAE Handbook, Refrigeration and EPA Technician Certification Manual, this reduces evaporator capacity. Fan issues. A. Affect high side pressure. Non-condensables. B. Raise head pressure but don't mimic suction. Undersized compressors. C. Affect mass flow, not just suction pressure. Understanding cycle diagnostics is key in restoration post-catastrophic event. Question 6. By evaluating the aftermath of a commercial kitchen fire, technician Lawson is assessing the rooftop HVAC unit. While the fire was contained to the interior, the HVAC system was operational during the incident. What is the most critical action she must take before restoring power? A. Replace all wiring in the unit assuming total thermal failure occurred. B. Perform a smoke residue test in ductwork and electrical compartments and inspect for acid soot corrosion. C. Restart the system immediately to check for electrical continuity. D. Remove the air filters and clean the return grill only. Answer. Correct answer. B. Perform a smoke residue test in ductwork and electrical compartments and inspect for acid soot corrosion. Explanation. According to NFPA 9-tier ASHRAE guidelines and rear fire damage assessment protocols, HVAC systems must be inspected for corrosive byproducts like acid soot, which can damage metals and electronics. Option B is correct due to its alignment with pre-power-up inspection protocols. Restarting the system. C. May worsen the damage. Blind replacement. A. Lacks justification without damage validation. Cleaning grills. D. Ignores contamination throughout the system. Question 7. Under the assumption that a technician is preparing to clean mold from an AHU in a flood-damaged structure, which electrical safety step must be performed first? A. Confirm with the client that power is off. B. Remove the breaker cover to inspect internal wiring. C. Use a multimeter to verify zero voltage and lock out the system. D. Clean around live components carefully to avoid contact. Answer. Correct answer. C. Use a multimeter to verify zero voltage and lock out the system. Explanation. Per OSHA 29 CFR 1910.333 and NFPA 7I, proper electrical safety requires lockout LOTO and verification of denigization using a voltage tester or multimeter. C. Aligns with industry protocols to prevent arc flash or electrocution. Verbal confirmation not reliable. Removing breaker covers while energized is hazardous. Cleaning live. D is a serious violation. Question 8. When evaluating the merits of moisture mitigation in a crawl space with suspected mold, technician Yosef uses a pen-type moisture meter on duct insulation and gets varying results. What is the best step to ensure accurate detection? A. Use an infrared camera to detect thermal anomalies related to moisture presence. B. Assume all wet insulation must be removed and proceed accordingly. C. Press harder with the pin meter to penetrate insulation deeper. D. Skip the insulation and measure only the duct surface for moisture. Answer. Correct answer. A. Use an infrared camera to detect thermal anomalies related to moisture presence. Explanation. Infrared thermography, as endorsed by HVACR, helps visualize temperature differentials that indicate moisture. Pin meters can give inconsistent results in soft materials like insulation. A supports non-invasive confirmation. Pressing harder, C, doesn't resolve insulation inconsistency. Skipping insulation, D, ignores key absorbent layers. Blind removal, B, without data can increase cost without justification. Question 9. The fundamental question is what should be done before handing over an HVAC system after restoration from smoke and water damage. Technician Mr. Bowman completes cleaning and drying. What is the next critical step? A. Inform the building owner that cleaning is complete and no further testing is needed. B. Run the system at full load for 24 hours to clear residual particles. C. Conduct performance testing, verify airflow, and document system baseline parameters. D. Leave system operation to the client to determine future issues. Answer. Correct answer. C. Conduct performance testing, verify airflow, and document system baseline parameters. Explanation. According to HVACR 5 Chi standard, system recommissioning post-restoration requires validating system operation, including airflow, temperature split, and control functionality. Documentation C is crucial for warranty, liability, and service benchmarking. A, B, and D all neglect testing and violate the recommissioning principle of verifying full operational integrity. Question 10. As evidenced by elevated particulate levels post-restoration, technician Mr. Franklin is asked to determine whether mold levels have returned to normal indoors. What test method should she prioritize? A. Co-concentration testing. B. Swab testing of surfaces in the HVAC system. C. Viable air sampling compared to an outdoor control. D. Temperature and humidity logging over 72 hours. Answer. Correct answer. C. Viable air sampling compared to an outdoor control. Explanation. Per EPA and AHA indoor air quality protocols, comparing indoor versus outdoor viable air sampling determines whether mold is abnormally elevated. C. Provides an objective basis. Surface swabs, B alone, don't measure airborne levels. COA measures occupancy load, not mold. Temp humidity logging. D. Supports moisture control, not biological validation. Question 11. A key distinction between safe and unsafe ladder use became clear when Mr. Navarro, working on a rooftop Oahu, used a taperometer on soft ground without anchoring. What did he most likely violate? A. Used a ladder rated for indoor-only use. B. Failed to follow OSHA's 3-point contact and ladder angle rules. C. Removed the ladder feet for better traction. D. Properly secured the ladder but chose the wrong extension height. Answer. Correct answer. B. Failed to follow OSHA's 3-point contact and ladder angle rules. Explanation. OSHA 1910.23 and HCR.2 require for 1. Ladder angle and 3-point contact at all times. Soft ground without anchor compromises base stability. B. Reflects the most critical failure. Removing feet. C. Is unsafe. Indoor-only use A may be true, but angle stability violations are more dangerous. Height selection. D. Doesn't explain typical ground failure. Question 12. Focusing specifically on control system accuracy after component cleaning, technician Ms. Jansen notices erratic system cycling. She suspects a miscalibrated thermostat. What is the most reliable method to calibrate it? A. Manually adjust the temperature setting to match comfort level. B. Compare displayed temperature to a calibrated digital thermometer and adjust offset. C. Replace the thermostat without performing any tests. D. Calibrate based on the time of day and outside temperature. Answer. Correct answer. B. Compare displayed temperature to a calibrated digital thermometer and adjust offset. Explanation. According to ASHRAE Guideline 1.2, thermostats should be calibrated by comparing internal sensors to a certified reference device and adjusting offset accordingly. B. Ensures accuracy. A. Is subjective. Replacing. C. Wastes resources. Time of day adjustments. D. Are not calibration procedures. Question 13. Contrary to popular belief, setting up a negative air machine in a mold remediation zone is not just about air removal. What must be considered for it to be effective? A. Run continuously regardless of filter condition. B. Use non-HEPA filters for higher flow rates. C. Seal the work zone, exhaust filter air outside, and monitor pressure differentials. D. Keep windows open to ensure fresh air circulation. Answer. Correct answer. C. Seal the work zone, exhaust filter air outside, and monitor pressure differentials. Explanation. HRConquer and HEPA mold remediation guidance mandate that negative air machines operate under sealed containment with air exhausted outside via HEPA filtration and monitored with manometers. C is compliant. Open windows. D. Compromise containment. Filter neglect. A. Reduces performance. Non-HEPA filters. B. Violate IAC protocols. Question 14. In response to a client demanding immediate system restart after duct cleaning, Mr. O'Reilly must ensure system readiness. Which approach best aligns with professional standards? A. Restart the system to meet the client's timeline. B. Delay client notification until all tests are done, regardless of urgency. C. Explain the risks of premature activation and walk through test procedures. D. Let the client sign waiver and proceed with system use. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explain the risks of premature activation and walk through test procedures. Explanation. Per RIA Code of Ethics and the post-cleaning protocols, the technician must provide informed guidance and explain the technical reasons for delay. C. Respects client needs while ensuring safety. Restarting. A. Risks failures. Delaying without communication. B. Damages trust. Waivers. D. Don't absolve liability if injury or damage occurs. Question 15. The correlation between poor lighting and injury was confirmed when a tech tripped over a disconnected duct section. What could have most effectively prevented the incident? A. Posting a warning sign near the duct. B. Wearing steel-toed boots during the job. C. Conducting a pre-task hazard assessment and using temporary lighting. D. Relying on the building's emergency lighting system. Answer. Correct answer. C. Conducting a pre-task hazard assessment and using temporary lighting. Explanation. According to OSHA 1926 subpart C and ANSI 0.1, technicians must perform a hazard analysis before tasks and address lighting as a key risk factor. C. Aligns with these safety requirements. Signs. A. May be unseen. Boots. B. Help protect but don't prevent tripping. Emergency lighting. D. Is not designed for restoration. Question 16. When analyzing a flooded commercial HVAC system, Mr. Nguyen is tasked with evaluating risks before restoration. He notices that some electrical panels are submerged and some ductwork shows signs of heavy corrosion. What should be the priority in his risk assessment process? A. Focus primarily on the duct corrosion as it can lead to air contamination. B. Prioritize electrical hazards due to water exposure, then assess structural system integrity. C. Begin restoration immediately to avoid further damage, regardless of hazards. D. Ignore the electrical panels if they are behind locked enclosures. Answer. Correct answer. B. Prioritize electrical hazards due to water exposure, then assess structural system integrity. Explanation. According to NFPA 7I and OSHA electrical safety guidelines, electrical hazards present the highest immediate risk, including shock and fire. Evaluating and isolating electrical panels affected by water is critical before mechanical restoration proceeds. Corroded ducts, they are important but secondary. Life-threatening electrical risks. Ignoring D is dangerous and rushing restoration. C can exacerbate hazards. Question 17. Throughout the course of a restoration project, technician O'Connor is responsible for documenting all repairs and cleaning activities on HVAC components. Why is detailed documentation essential in disaster restoration? A. It allows the technician to avoid direct communication with the client. B. It provides legally defensible record, supports insurance claims, and aids future maintenance. C. It replaces the need for physical testing and verification. D. It is optional and only needed if the client requests it. Answer. Correct answer. B. It provides a legally defensible record, supports insurance claims, and aids future maintenance. Explanation. HRConquer standards emphasize thorough documentation to maintain transparency, verify scope and quality, and support claims or dispute resolution. It also aids in tracking the system's condition post-restoration, avoiding communication or skipping testing. C. Violates best practices. Documentation is optional. D. In professional restoration. Question 18. In light of recent developments, Mr. Clark is repairing an HVAC blower motor after water exposure. He notices minor corrosion on the bearings, but the motor runs with some noise. What is the best practice here? A. Continue using the motor as long as it runs to save costs. B. Lubricate the bearings and monitor motor temperature and noise closely. C. Immediately replace the motor without further evaluation. D. Spray the motor with water-resistant coating and resume operation. Answer. Correct answer. B. Lubricate the bearings and monitor motor temperature and noise closely. Explanation. ASHRAE and NATE guidelines recommend assessing repair viability by lubricating affected components and monitoring operational parameters before deciding on replacement. Immediate replacement. C. May be wasteful if repair suffices. Using it without action. A. Risks failure. Spraying coatings. D. Can cause electrical issues. Question 19. During the process of restoration after chemical spills, technician Kim observes unusual odors and discoloration in ductwork. How should she confirm the nature of contaminants? A. Use only visual inspection and assume all discoloration is harmless. B. Collect samples for laboratory analysis to identify chemical residues and assess toxicity. C. Clean the ducts with standard detergents and deodorize immediately. D. Replace all ductwork as a precaution. Answer. Correct answer. B. Collect samples for laboratory analysis to identify chemical residues and assess toxicity. Explanation. Proper identification involves sampling and lab testing as per NIOSH and EPA chemical hazard protocols to ensure correct remediation measures. Visual inspection. A. Is insufficient. Cleaning. C. Or replacement. D. Without analysis risks ineffective or excessive intervention and safety risks. Question 20. Considering the evidence after a restoration project, Mr. Hernandez notices inadequate airflow and uneven temperature distribution in a multi-zone HVAC system. What could be the underlying cause? A. Blocked or improperly balanced dampers in the duct system. B. Oversized compressor causing pressure fluctuations. C. Excessive refrigerant charge. D. Clean air filters improving air movement. Answer. Correct answer. A. Blocked or improperly balanced dampers in the duct system. Explanation. Uneven airflow and temperature are commonly due to duct damper misadjustments or blockages impacting zone balance per CAM Manual D and ASHRAE HVAC design standards. Compressor size. B. And refrigerant charge. C. Affect cooling but don't directly cause airflow imbalances. Clean filters. D. Improve airflow. Question 21. With respect to drying a structure affected by floodwaters, technician Isatoros must select appropriate equipment and strategies. Which of the following is most crucial for effective structural drying? A. Use of high-velocity air movers combined with dehumidifiers and monitoring moisture levels regularly. B. Simply increasing building temperature without dehumidification. C. Closing all windows to trap moisture inside the building. D. Allowing natural evaporation without intervention. Answer. Correct answer. A. Use of high-velocity air movers combined with dehumidifiers and monitoring moisture levels regularly. Explanation. HRConquer outlines that air movers and dehumidifiers work synergistically to remove moisture by promoting evaporation and extracting vapor. Monitoring is essential for adjusting conditions. Heating without dehumidification. B. Can worsen mold risk. Closing windows. C. And relying on natural evaporation. D. Are ineffective and slow. Question 22. The core principles of psychrometrics play a vital role during restoration drying. If relative humidity remains high despite lowering temperature, what might be the cause? A. Insufficient airflow to remove moisture-laden air. B. Overuse of dehumidifiers. C. Excessive refrigerant in the system. D. Opening windows to introduce outside air. Answer. Correct answer. A. Insufficient airflow to remove moisture-laden air. Explanation. Psychrometric theory shows that without adequate airflow, saturated air stagnates, impeding drying. According to ASHRAE fundamentals, controlling humidity requires ventilation plus dehumidification. Overuse of dehumidifiers. B. Isn't likely to cause high RH refrigerant levels. C. And opening windows. D. Affect other parameters. Question 23. One might argue that during a complex restoration, systematic troubleshooting is key. If a restored HVAC system cycles on and off rapidly, what hypothesis should technician test first? A. Thermostat sensor failure causing incorrect temperature readings. B. Dirty air filters reducing airflow. C. A broken compressor relay. D. Inadequate refrigerant charge. Answer. Correct answer. A. Thermostat sensor failure causing incorrect temperature readings. Explanation. Rapid short cycling is often caused by faulty thermostat or sensor feedback, leading to premature system shutdown per ASHRAE troubleshooting guides, while filters. B. Relay issues. C. And refrigerant charge. D. Affect performance. They less commonly cause immediate cycling behavior. Question 24. To what extent does proper refrigerant recovery and recycling impact environmental compliance during disaster restoration? A. It is only necessary for large HVAC systems over 10 tons. B. It prevents ozone depletion and complies with EPA Section 608 regulations, regardless of system size. C. It is optional if refrigerant leaks are minor. D. It is only required if the refrigerant is R22. Answer. Correct answer. B. It prevents ozone depletion and complies with EPA Section 608 regulations, regardless of system size. Explanation. EPA Section 608 mandates refrigerant recovery and recycling for all systems to minimize release of ozone-depleting substances and greenhouse gases. Exemptions based on size or refrigerant type A, C, D are not valid for full compliance. Proper handling ensures environmental protection and legal adherence. Question 25. Within the framework of effective client communication, Garcia must explain why a restoration will take longer than expected due to unforeseen contamination. What is the best communication approach? A. Use technical jargon to impress the client with expertise. B. Clearly explain the situation, reasons for delay, and updated timeline in simple terms. C. Avoid mentioning the delay until the client asks. D. Delegate the communication to a different team member without briefing them. Answer. Correct answer. B. Clearly explain the situation, reasons for delay, and updated timeline in simple terms. Explanation. According to RIA customer service standards, transparency and clarity build client trust and satisfaction. Explaining delays. B. In understandable language reduces misunderstandings and complaints. Jargon. A. Confuses clients. Avoiding disclosure. C. Damages rapport and uncoordinated delegation. D. Reduces effective. Question 26. During a restoration job following a major sewer backup in a commercial building, a technician must address both Category 3 water and biohazardous contamination in ductwork. Which of the following procedures is most appropriate before placing the system back into service? A. Perform aggressive biocide fogging and thermal drying of the ductwork. B. Replace all ductwork regardless of contamination level due to health risk. C. Mechanically clean ducts. Apply EPA-registered biocide and verify cleanliness. D. Use ozone generation to sterilize the ducts without manual cleaning. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Mechanical cleaning followed by EPA-registered biocide application ensures removal of both organic debris and microbial contaminants. Verification of cleanliness is critical under NACA, ACA standard and ICACIS guidelines. Ozone alone or fogging without cleaning is not sufficient for Category 3 contamination. Question 27. A residential structure with known asbestos-containing materials (ACMs) in the ceiling was affected by a pipe burst that saturated large areas. Before drying begins, what is the most critical safety step? A. Install negative pressure drying and dehumidification immediately. B. Remove ceiling materials as quickly as possible to reduce moisture. C. Contact a licensed asbestos abatement professional for assessment. D. Proceed with drying only if PPE and HEPA filters are used. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Any disturbance of ACMs can release dangerous fibers. According to OSHA 1926.1101 and EPA NESHAP regulations, only licensed professionals may assess or remove ACMs. Drying must be delayed until materials are confirmed safe or are professionally mitigated. Question 20. A technician is tasked with restoring HVAC function in a building post-fire. Upon inspection, smoke residue is found within metal ductwork. Which cleaning method best ensures thorough decontamination? A. Wipe surfaces with general-purpose cleaners and install new filters. B. Seal duct interiors with encapsulants after minimal cleaning. C. HEPA vacuum, mechanically brush and clean with approved chemicals. D. Apply ozone treatment and deodorize the duct system. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Effective removal of fire-related particulates involves HEPA vacuuming, brushing, and chemical cleaning per NACA and ICAC standards. Encapsulation without cleaning can trap contaminants, and ozone does not remove physical residues. Question 29. Following a mold remediation in a school, a restoration team must verify that HVAC components are safe to operate. What post-remediation verification (PRV) action is required before reactivation? A. Confirm odor elimination and air circulation throughout classrooms. B. Visually inspect all HVAC system components for cleanliness and dryness. C. Operate the system at high speed to flush out remaining spores. D. Test only air handlers since duct interiors are not considered critical. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. HRConquer mandates a full visual inspection to confirm removal of visible dust, mold, and moisture. PRV ensures no contaminants remain before restoring system function. Odor or airflow tests alone are not acceptable validation methods. Question 30. In a hospital restoration project, the contractor discovers that HVAC air handlers were operating during Category 3 water intrusion. What should the technician do first regarding these units? A. Isolate affected air handlers, clean coils, and restart quickly. B. Shut down the units, assess contamination, and document conditions. C. Continue operating units while HEPA filters are installed. D. Remove and replace insulation only, leaving other components intact. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Operation during Category 3 water intrusion can aerosolize pathogens. According to ICAC and ASHRAE recommendations, the system should be shut down, immediately evaluated for contamination, and thoroughly documented before any action is taken.